With the game's release just days away and the Diablo data mining community hard at work, thanks to this Reddit user, we have access to virtually the entire game's database already. As such, we're going to have a quick rundown of what the database has to offer, such as different item types and weapon types, and how their stat rolls may affect your builds. Without further ado, let's get started. Depending on the weapon type, each one has a specific implicit affix that's tied to its type. Considering which build you're running, focusing on a specific weapon type over another might be extremely beneficial. For instance, if you play a druid and you'd like to use a two-handed weapon, if you're deciding on a weaver build scaling overpower, the obvious choice is to use a mace for extra overpower scaling. However, in other cases, using a staff might be a better option if you can guarantee some source of CC. Moving on, another thing worth checking out is the Affixes tab, granting us insight into potential rolls we can get on our items. For instance, we can locate Lucky Hit Chance Affix and realize the highest potential roll can only roll on gloves, meaning that if you want to build around Lucky Hit, guaranteeing an open affix to convert into Lucky Hit might be mandatory. As for the class affixes, we can now confirm certain tendencies. You can have anywhere between 2 to 3 ranks to a singular ability, you can have 1 to 2 ranks to a single passive, or 1 to 2 ranks to all abilities with a common tag. Now, this may not necessarily be the most important information to have, but it's interesting to see how the costs scale up over time, as a lot of people have been wondering on the best practice between salvaging and selling items. We now have access to formulas and flat crafting costs through which we can better understand roughly the costs of anything in the endgame. The gold cost estimates for the occultist craft seem a little wonky for the moment. However, the crafting material costs are accurate. If it's not 100% precise, and the formulas may be a little bit over the place, or even more so yet, subject to change, at the very least, you can create an educated guess for your gold needs moving through the campaign. Something that I personally found very useful are the unique item details, which contrary to most build planners, actually contain the rolls on implicits. This is particularly useful as you can use it to estimate extra multipliers to your build, such as the added stats of Harlequin Crest, such as resource generation, Facility's Prayer, and Insatiable Fury to guesstimate how much overpowered damage do you actually receive from them, on top of other damage bucket multipliers. In the case, such as Ashara's Kanjar, basic skill damage spread being so large that the unique might only be realistically worth using on a high roll. Coming up next, I want to touch on the interactive map. Even though it's not the only interactive map available for Diablo 4, in my experience at least, this one feels the most complete, enabling the more dedicated players to plan routes and optimize the run, and the more casual players to explore and locate points of interest on their travels. For instance, the aforementioned Tree of Whispers location, which can be found in Hawizar, right here. I don't want to extend this video more than necessary, but I hope you found some of this information useful. I also will make sure to add all the necessary links in the description below. With that being said, Aranetius out.